I'm Chosen Architect, and this is Mystical Block. So if you made it this far through the mod pack, you're probably starting to feel a little bit of tedium. And that's because you've probably been manually farming all of your crops and all that fun jazz and crafting everything with, you know, tedious means of doing those things, like using, for example, RF Tools crafting, which honestly isn't too bad, but maybe you've been manually crafting by pulling things out of chests. Well, today is going to be all about quality of life mods. And today we're going to be upgrading our storage on top of all of that. Now, one fantastic thing that we can do right off the bat is, well, upgrade our backpack. So right now we are on an iron tier backpack and we have 2 upgrade slots that we haven't even used the abilities on. We should be able to do this. We should be able to upgrade. And I probably should have went for at least a crafting upgrade in here early on and probably ran everything out of an iron backpack. But instead, I decided to go with Colossal Chest. Now, what can we do with these upgrade slots? So, Sophisticated Backpacks has so much stuff. It's just, it doesn't look like there's a lot, but there's a lot that these things can do. They can auto smelt for you. They can hold experience and then auto mend for you. Also, it can auto eat for you. So all we need for this to work is simply a golden carrot, which I'm going to have to pull out some basic seeds. We are going to need a golden carrot, and we're going to need a golden apple and a melon. And we should have all of these things. And this is just the basic tier. The basic tier has a filter and everything, which is kind of amazing. We should be able to get this crafted up, no problem. And let's see. Oh, do we have to? Yeah, we have to manually slice up melons. I don't even know if I have melons. I have a couple of melons. We should be able to hit this with an axe, right? And that breaks it into pieces. There we go. But yes, one of the niceties of this mod is being able to not worry about your food. Just keep your food stocked in your inventory and you should be good with this upgrade. So there we go. Now we have a feeding upgrade. Now the advanced version of the feeding upgrade gives you a couple more options basically to allow you to choose when you want to eat your food. It can maximize the food's potential by having you not eat until you get below a certain threshold and many things like that. But just the basic one is fantastic. As soon as we put this in, we can say only eat bread by making it an allow list. And now it's only going to consume bread. Anything else that's in here that is something that's edible, it will not eat. We will not eat it. We will only eat what is in this allow list. So pretty cool. And you can always turn it off. That's the cool part about these upgrades. So that's one quality of life mod out of the way. Now the other you may already see in my inventory, and that is a sleeping mat. That's going to allow me to just place this down anytime I need to sleep, just right click, and I should be able to sleep right away, which is going to be fantastic. Especially since it's just kind of dull at night, and I'd prefer not to record my episodes in the middle of the night. Now another huge, and I mean huge, oh, too close, quality of life is something you guys have been mentioning in the comments, and you guys have been like, hey Chosen, please, please, please make an energy condenser. And that is from ProjectE. Now I've been kind of pushing off not getting into this for good reason, but the energy condenser is going to allow us to use the EMC values on things without having a transmutation table where I put an item in and then I can pull infinite amounts of that out. Instead, what we do with this is we put items in exchange for another item. So you feed it one thing and it can give you multiples of the other thing, so long as the values keep increasing EMC wise. So it's not incredibly complicated to understand how this is going to work. We are going to need a little bit of these basic materials, including charcoal. I don't think we can we craft charcoal? Oh, we can. It's kind of easy to craft, actually. Yeah, I'm literally talking like as if I shouldn't get into ProjectE right now, because we could probably have this done right away and have a transmutation table and everything. But I've kind of been pushing it back, but it's funny that I'm doing that because we're literally playing a pack that gives you infinites of nearly everything once you have things up and running. Once you have your seeds going, you just kind of have to figure out a way to farm them all. So, I mean, this isn't too bad. I kind of like the idea of this. By the way, The chest thing, oh gosh, chests are kind of annoying when it comes to JEI. But yes, getting this set up shouldn't be too bad. The energy condenser requires obsidian and blocks of diamond, and we have tons of diamond. So I should be able to just get that crafted. There we go. And 4 blocks of diamond later, we should be able to take, for example, diamonds. There we see, you can see right there, it's all crafted up. We should be able to take diamonds and make more of these. And if we went ahead and made another energy condenser, we could then make multiple energy condensers, so long as we give it something that has EMC value. For example, if I wanted to make medium covalence dust, I wanted to make more of this, I would put the item that I want to make inside this slot, and then I would feed it another item inside the main slot, and it will take that item and convert it into an EMC value up here, and then it will spit out the equivalent of the EMC into the item, while also leaving whatever remainder of that EMC is left over. So for example, there's 4 EMC left over. So that's pretty cool. Any item that we may only have 1 of at the start, we could simply duplicate by finding something that has a high EMC value, and we could recreate it. For example, if we wanted more diamond early on, and let's say we had an abundance of something else, for example, emeralds, I can put the diamond in here that I want to make more of, and then I can put an emerald in there, and as you can see, for the price of this 1 emerald, I was able to get 2 diamonds. So we're basically just using the energy condenser to exchange goods. So maybe asking, like, what's the difference though using this over the tablet? Well, the table, you can't get the table just yet. You have to go through the Twilight Force in order to get the table. So this is kind of convenience. But really the thing is you have to do all the kind of math in your head for this sort of thing. Whereas the table, it's all done for you. You just put it in and it tells you how many of the items you can take out of the table for what you've put in. And I can tell you this energy condenser, and also moving up to the next tier, is probably going to get used a lot because I love automating with them. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk about the biggest quality of life, and that's going to be storage. Now, this is tough for me because there's 2 storage mods in here that are major storage mods. There's Applied Energistics and there's Refined Storage. Both of them are great in their own right, and usually I will choose which one is the one I want to play with depending on the added mods that are in the pack related to those mods. For example, if Refined Storage has the upgraded crafters, I will probably go for that. If Applied Energistics has something that makes that mod super better, like AE2 stuff, like I will probably go for that. I noticed in this pack particular that it seems like it was built without Applied Energistics in mind initially. Taking a look at the quest, you can see all the quests lined out for Refined Storage. But this is all you get for Applied Energistics. To me, that feels like, well, Applied Energistics wasn't in the main thought when this pack was put together. And I also was looking at all of the AE2 things. And if you just search up AE, usually that pulls up some of the bonus mods. Really, there's nothing except for the ability to have, you know, a wireless crafter, similar to Refined Storage. So in this, and then there's also some extra storage drives as well that you can craft higher tiers of. With all this in mind, not that I don't want to do Applied Energistics, I think Refined Storage might be the better option, at least early on. We might have to switch mid, and if we do switch mid, it shouldn't be too difficult, and we might have to set up multiple systems depending on how things go towards in-game. I don't think this is going to be a super tough choice. I think Refined Storage kind of wins here because of the mods that are available. We have the crafters, and I don't think anything compares. If we're going towards the strongest mod in here, I have to say Refined Storage kind of wins on this one, simply because of the crafters. So these crafters are insanely fast, these upgraded ones, all the way up to netherite. And I think this is going to be the way to go. And I don't know if the exporters are the same way. Yes, this has the extra storage mod in it. And because of that, we have advanced exporters and advanced importers, which just make Refined Storage, in my opinion, exceed Applied Energistics. in like every way. The simplicity and also the functionality. So with that, I think I've made my choice. Refined storage, we will go. At least this pack. Now, if you guys are looking for an interesting tutorial on how to get through the new version of Applied Energistics, such as in the one that's in this pack, be sure to check out all the mods to the Sky 7, all the mods 7 to the Sky. In that series, if you do search that up, I cover pretty much everything you need to know about how to use an AE system in that Let's Play. And I did cover pretty much everything. So be sure to check that out if that's something you're interested in, if you're wanting to learn Applied Energistics, because it is a fantastic mod to learn how to use. So now, before I get into that, my ultimate plan for this setup, and that is going to be right below me, right down here, there's going to be some things that are going to happen. All of this material is going to be farmed out, and I am about to hollow out the bottom of this. I want to make this glass, and we are going to have our storage system accessible from the middle of this whole island. I think this is going to be pretty cool looking. Now, as I was digging this out, prepping to get refined storage down into here, I realized something. I don't have a great way of getting back out. Thankfully, I can just, you know, I can simply build out. But I was looking at some climbing claws and realized this requires a scoot, which, now that I think about it, that is a grind to get. Out of all of the things I've done so far, this is probably the most RNG thing to be able to get, because not only do I have to wait for a turtle to spawn in, I will not have to wait for a turtle to spawn in. I can use bait, but I have to wait for that bait to work. Then I have to make 2 of them. Then I have to breed them. And then I have to get lucky that the egg that they produce hatches and the actual small baby grows up and drops a scoot. You heard that right. All of those things have to happen to get a scoot. It's a tedious process, something that, you know, is really rewarding in regular vanilla Minecraft. But a scoot for this, that is rough on a skyblock. Pretty easy to do in the overworld, but not in a skyblock. So I don't think I'm going to be going towards climbing claws, even climbing claws, even though that would be really helpful. But what I am going to do is I am going to build out of here. I'm going to go ahead and get myself back out. And then I'm going to set up some elevators, which are going to make travel back and forth between up top and down below here a whole lot easier. So now, with a couple of elevators ready to go, and I was able to get more white wool simply by just putting a diamond in there, which is really nice. So that energy condenser, oh, thank you guys so much for recommending it, because I don't always remember things. You got to keep that in mind. I forget things, and I do rely on you guys a lot of times in the comments to remind me of things. And that was one thing that totally went over my head. I was like, I could have made that from the start. It's so easy to get and would have helped so much, would have saved me so much time. I'm a dork, but now that you know, you can also save time as well. So elevators are pretty cool. I have one right there, and I should be able to place one down here. This may have to move later on depending on how my system expands, but I can now, oh, I don't want to do that. This is all stone, I guess, considered. I can go ahead and teleport up here. That's pretty darn cool. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this mined out, and then we need to start working on getting the basis of a refined storage system set up, and that is going to be a game changer. Just as I head back, this guy, look what he's offering. I kind of want all of those enchants, specifically that protection 5. This could be really handy, and I'm sure later on we're going to have ways of ripping enchants off of things. So it's probably better to grab them now while I can. And all I need is a regular helmet, I believe. And we have plenty of emeralds. So let's go ahead and buy this. Definitely. Give me that. Where did he go? You went all the way back here. Oh no, I need 45. Of course I do. I need a bit more. There we go. Perfect. Hey, you went invisible on me. There we go. So now we have a little bit of mending, respiration, aqua affinity that we can put on a helmet. That'd be kind of cool. Now that of course will be for later on, because right now I'm wearing Tinker's armor and you can't put regular enchants on Tinker's armor. Now with all of this stuff crafted up, things are going to be a little bit easier because we now have this energy condenser, right? So in refined storage, the hardest parts I think to craft essentially are just all of the basic cores that we're going to need and all the processors, right? There are 3 processors, and then there are the 2 core components that we use for just about everything in refined storage. Now, to make these processors, we do need to smelt them and go through their process, and we are also going to need to smelt down some silicon. Silicon can be obtained through, of course, seeds. It's really nice, but also nether quartz. So we can take some quartz, which we do have seeds for, and we can just smelt them down. And of course, once we get some of them, which of course in this version, it doesn't really matter which ones we choose, I believe. I think we can use both of them. Maybe not. We may not be able to use both of them. I may have spoke too soon there. Looks like they're not or dictionary together to equal 1. Oh boy. Okay. So with that, let's get some more quartz and actually, there we go. Actually choose the right process to happen. So we have to switch this over. There we go. Now we're getting the appropriate ones, which I only need a couple of them because what I should be able to do is I should be able to take, for example, diamonds, and I just put this in, take these out. I put this in and then put a diamond in here, and now I'm producing a bunch of them. I want to do this same task with the majority of our stuff. And I can farm diamonds quite easily, or emeralds. Emeralds would give us even more. So here's where I said the quality of life stuff really comes into play, because I can go, okay, I want a basic processor after already having it crafted up, and I can turn that into a bunch of processors just by feeding some emeralds into it. And so once we have a couple of stacks of these, getting into refined storage is going to be a piece of cake. Now, I know some of you may absolutely hate this, using the chest here. And it's perfectly understandable. I know a lot of people do not like ProjectE. And of course, let me know down in the comments below. Do you like ProjectE? And do you think it has a place in modded Minecraft? Because I would love to know. Personally, it's a favorite of mine as it does allow me immense creativity. And it does come at a cost. However, in a pack like this, where it is not really balanced or checked in any way, it can be used, well, quite early and can definitely make a pack really, really fast. And I know that can really bum out a lot of people, including myself. It can, of course, do that to me as well. And it also can make things that you would normally automate have no need to be automated. And so, yeah, I think it has a place. And when I just played Mechanical Mastery, it definitely felt like it was designed into that pack. So far into this one, not so much. Now, I have also made a pack called ProjectArchitect, but the whole premise of that pack was to definitely give you EMC from the start. That was the whole point. The whole point was for you to have a way of getting infinite items from the start so you can build in your world and still play in survival. And that was sort of the whole premise. This one, I think the majority of the ProjectE stuff is really going to be pushed to the limits, I think, in-game, because of just the way all of the in-game items look. But things will get a little bit easier once we can craft more of the ProjectE materials and things like that. There's also Draconic in here, and there's still going to be a lot of things that don't have EMC that, of course, we're going to have to figure out and automate ourselves. So I'm hoping that doesn't bum a lot of you out. I hope you guys still find some enjoyment in this mod pack, or at least watching it, as I do go through a lot of these things. The only thing it's really going to be doing is going to be kind of limiting the amount of grind that I'm going to hopefully have to do off camera, because that's no fun for anyone. You don't get to see it, and I have to experience it all. Now, I kind of have an idea for this refined storage system. I want there to be sort of this cable structure in the middle, and I still want to have access to the controller. So what I'm thinking is the controller can go up top, right up here, if I can, of course, land it there. But we're going to need to power this controller, and I think this is where, well, we can use probably one of the most powerful generators in the pack. That's right, the Dirt Generator 9000. This, my friends, is the pinnacle of power. And when I say pinnacle, it produces 9,000 FE per tick from one single dirt. I'm just kidding. It definitely does not. It's a funny joke. And I don't even think it produces any power at all. I love this thing. The more of these things need to exist. No, actually, what we're going to use is instead combustion generators. But I hope I got your hopes up. That was kind of funny. All right, up here, we can go ahead and get a generator and just get some power going into this. Simple, 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 simple. Right? And that's what refined storage is all about, is simplicity with good functionality. So right here, we can go ahead and place a crafting grid. All around, though, is going to be grids. This will be a pattern grid, and then we have a fluid grid. And this is where I probably wouldn't have made all of these grids normally. But because we have access to all of this, and we can make multiple screens and things like that, I am actually going to put all of these things here. So this is kind of nice. So down here, we'll put a drive, and I'll keep the crafting monitor, and I'll put that aside for now. That would allow me to see how crafts are coming along, which we'll get into later. But the crafting manager can also do some, that's what the majority of the crafting manager is for. So let's take a look at the rest of this stuff within this mod. We need to go ahead and get the disk made up, but I also want to decorate this room. And that's where I was thinking we can go ahead and use the exchanging gadget. And I want this room to be made of cyan terracotta, which in my opinion looks gray. And I think that is a pretty cool looking color, specifically for this area. And it's going to fit very, very well, especially with this color. Now you can change the color of all of your stuff, but I'm thinking this mixed with cyan concrete powder will look really good. Like not the concrete, but the actual powder to give it some texture. Oh man, this is gonna be really nice looking when it's done. So I've almost got this all ready to go and in here. Now, of course, with the way the crafters are right now, it is a little bit janky looking. But we can make this room look a little bit better if I go ahead and boop, do this to the elevator and actually make it look like the terracotta. And I can go ahead and pop up. There we go. Perfect. And I think I want to make this also look like everything else, but I want to put an elevator in all of the corners here. That way I can go to any corner to get out. And see, this is the beauty of modded Minecraft, being able to add in functionality, but still make it look like it doesn't exist and nothing's there. Boop. There we go. You wouldn't even know this is there. It fits in and blends in so perfectly. Now the only thing left to do is cyan dye. And then we just need to get our storage set up and make some drives. And just like all of the other things, well, drives have been made kind of easy because, well, we can essentially duplicate them. And just like this, I go through the process of doing that, where I'm slowly but surely getting all of these upgraded. By the way, the reason I can just click it in for it to work is because I've already put a stack of emeralds in there, and it is able to utilize those stacks of emeralds. By the way, that is a fluid disk. Am I making fluid disks? I'm already making the wrong disk. I mean, I could use fluid disks. I have no problem with them. Let's see. But I need regular storage disks. There we go. That's more like it. Making actual storage parts. Oh my goodness. And before I know it, I am rolling in 64K drives, just like that. And of course, I'm just going to dump these in. And this is going to allow me to make multiple of the drives. You know, I don't think I've ever started off in a mod pack where I can just essentially go to refined storage and fill the entire thing with 64K storage disks. So at this point, I want to make an easy transition. I want to get all of the storage out of here, which I should be able to do either from the core or from the access point. That is on the front of this. And to do that, I am just going to migrate a cable over to here and attach that to the center temporarily. While I get this all going, I've also went ahead and made the speed upgrades. So this should be a pretty quick process of transferring everything that already exists in here into my drives. I'm just trying to make this as seamless as I possibly can. And of course, having a giant hole inside of my build is not the most seamless of things. So now that I have my temporary line hooked up, let's get all of this storage moved over. And I want to do it as fast as possible. So I have my speed upgrades like I'd mentioned, and we have this. This is an advanced importer. Now, this thing right here is just a better version of the regular importer, and it's not too much more expensive to make this. It's going to give us, not necessarily better in this case, but it does give you more filter slots. Normally, you only get 9 import and export slots, no matter what you're using with base refined storage. But in this case, it gives us a whole other row, which is actually quite a bit. So all I have to do now is get this hooked in, and this should start importing things out of our system here. But it's going to be pretty slow, like I said. I bet if we check our refined storage, we'll be able to see we're using 30 FE. This thing, by the way, I think generates 80. So we're still good as far as power goes. But we should start to notice items rolling in. Very, very slow. I'm kind of afraid, though, we might exceed our power by putting some speed upgrades in here. But let's see how this is going to go. So we put a stack upgrade. That's going to make it incredibly fast. And then 3 speed upgrades. This is going to be as fast as it can possibly go, which is going to still take some time. But my gosh, it's better than going back and forth. So this is, yeah, now using 102, which is technically more than this produces. So this will run out. I'm going to have to make another generator. But as we can see, the items are going in so much faster now. Well, I guess since we're no longer going to be using the good old storage scanner anymore, at least here, we can just send our resources to this. Now we're going to be generating enough to handle this going in. And so everything is going to slowly but surely get flooded in. And this is going to be way nicer to handle. And one of the things that we can do is stretch this to the medium size. Now, if you're going to use filters in here to add tabs up into the top here, you probably want it to be lower if you're using this size GUI. But otherwise, I like to set it to medium. It feels really nice, especially with this size GUI. And then, of course, I like to set my search box to JEI synchronized 2-way. That way, when I search up here, it also searches in JEI. And when I search here, it also searches in this crafting grid. And all of that's really nice. I like mine set to quantity. It's pretty normal. And then all of the other modes are just the way I like them. Now, with our storage all moved over, man, the quality of life changes to this stuff specifically is amazing. We now get access to our bookmark bar, and I've went ahead and also made ourselves a wireless crafting grid, because you may be thinking, well, you had a tablet, you could take it cross-dimensionally. Well, technically, I'm not going to be able to take this cross-dimensionally just yet. We will be able to soon. And that's probably its only limiting factor compared to the other mods. But that's where we can actually use our backpacks, I think. But the cool part is I can now bookmark, like I said. So I can bookmark all of these items, and I have access to them, and I can actually see them over here in my current GUI scale, that is. That makes it a little bit easier. Now, to get this wireless grid going, which this is a very specific one, this is the Refined Storage add-ons mod. Like I said, there's more, it seems like there's more Refined Storage add-on mods in here than add-ons mod for Applied Energistics. But right here, we can go ahead and use this because for some reason, Refined Storage doesn't come with a base wireless crafting grid for whatever reason. So this is pretty cool. We can put it in our Curo slot, and we can use a hotkey to actually open it. But I do need a way to charge it. So let's get back into some thermal and use that Tinker's Workbench that I've been using. I did try out a cyclic battery, and for some reason, the cyclic battery didn't want to work. I don't know what the reasoning is behind that, but here we go. We have that now charged. There's only a few things left to do to have everything up and running, like fully. I think we have now everything moved over, but that is, we need to craft ourselves one of these if I can find them. Might be on the first page, actually. There it is. A wireless transmitter. The wireless transmitter by default has a pretty short range. But we're going to be able to extend that. For right now, I'm just going to put it right here. It does have some upgrade extensions, so we can actually upgrade it a little bit. And I think it goes up to like 48 in total blocks, which is enough to cover our entire island, I think. So with some base upgrades here, just 4 of them, and then the range, that should be enough to cover all of that. As you can see, 48 blocks in total. And right now we're using up a lot of power. So I think our transfer process is done. Of course, I want to check the chest just to make sure. And then we're going to have a new spot over here that doesn't have to house a giant chest that we should be able to use. And of course, our power usage is going to go way down once we stop all of this from running. Now, of course, to get this to activate, once you've got all this set up, shift right click on the controller. That's going to link it to the controller. And now we can access it. Of course, we can change our grid. We can even put our own filter specifically in this particular grid if we want. I'm going to be using this quite a bit, so I want it set up the exact same way as everything else. And then I want it to go inside of its curio slot, I should say, which can go in any slot. I don't know if there's a particular slot that is available for this, but I like to put it in the top slot. And now I should be able to go into my options, controls, and then search crafting grid. And we should see a crafting grid right here. By default, set to Control G. I want to set mine to Control E. I like that because I always hit E to open my inventory. And so I can go Control E and it's going to open up our refined storage crafting grid. Pretty darn cool. And I think at this point, this is going to be the turning point. This is going to be really where this pack starts to progress very fast. Because we have the energy condenser, we have all of the refined storage set up. Things are going to start blazing along. We're going to really start to progress here way faster than we've already done. So I hope you guys are ready for that. And if you are, be sure, guys, to click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And of course, guys, be sure to ring that notification bell so you can be notified when I do publish a new video just like this, no matter what series it is on. And of course, guys, it is now time to thank the supporter of today's video. And that huge thanks is going to go out to, if I can get things spelled in there, there we go. Thanks to Heaven King. Thank you so much for your amazing support, by the way, over on the Discord, becoming a Discord premium member and supporting in one of the best ways possible. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Of course, we're going to be expanding more on refined storage, and I hope me not choosing AE didn't ruin the series for you guys, because we might actually need to get into AE later on. Who knows? Who knows? Of course, guys, I will see you in the next one. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye.